1, 2, 3. You did it off. Oh, that'd do. That's close enough, I think. Right, okay. Shaun, what's mental health? Mental health, but none of us are experts in this topic. What else would you say? What other terminology would you use? Just to clarify that none of us are medical experts in the field of mental health. So, as I always say during these episodes, narcissistic ramblings. That's what it's about, but in a good way. In a good way. So everything I say, my opinion, will be based on my own experience, and then depending on that, some people can go, "Oh, do you know what? Yeah, I can relate to that."
I guess anything we do say isn't intending to upset or cause any things, but we might go into some honest chat about mental health, which might bring up some topics that are sensitive to some people. So just a heads up about that, I guess.
Well, if anything, it'll help. That's
hopefully
that's the plan.
It's good to have a heads up, I think, with this subject. Yeah. It's just being honest. That's our goal today, isn't it?
Yeah. Speaking from the heart. That is the goal of today.
How's this setup looking? We're looking a bit cramped around this little table. You have to remember that normally I'm around it, and then I've got a little leprechaun on the other side of it.
Yeah, she's so
it works most of the time.
I can see all three of us on there. I'm literally.
Well, there we go.
It's a good bit of editing. Like, I'm on Ben's lap right now, but he's edited it, so I'm opposite him somehow.
No, I'm not that advanced with editing, unfortunately. I wish.
It's the world's smallest table. We've got 3 men on it. So.
I feel like it's quite hot in here, isn't it? It's quite a hot day, so this could be an issue. I'm already feeling it. I'm already feeling a bit hot under the collar. But then, yes, the topic is
try running
stressful, I suppose, in some ways. Do I need to introduce you? Danny's back, everyone. Remember Danny?
Back.
Remember the running and veganism?
Yeah.
Same guy, Danny.
They kept screaming for me to return.
Yeah.
So I thought, go on then.
Isn't that the same top?
No,
it looks like the same top.
I might. If you do any editing, I'm going to blend into the green.
Well, it has been a few weeks, O'Shea, so like he could.
Yeah, no, I suppose
he's allowed to maybe recycle the same clothing that he had before.
Which would be funny if that was the same one.
Shaun O'Shea. So I said I call this gentleman O'Shea. So these two are siblings. So I've got to now call them by their first name, so there's no confusion.
Same birthday as well.
Yes, that's extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah, a year apart.
Yeah, what are the chances?
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's busy parents.
Yeah. Didn't hang about.
But Mr. Shaun O'Shea, you have been on, well, not Pushable Health, but you have been on the other podcast that I don't like to speak about too often. The film one that was, in the end, not too good. So you were on there. We did Hot Fuzz.
Yep, Hot Fuzz, great film. I watched it the night before and did plenty of notes, didn't I? From before.
It was a long one, yeah.
It was.
Yeah,
long,
it took me a while to edit that. I remember, and that was also without video. This was just audio.
Very true.
Back in the day,
you've done well. And I had a little box that last time.
That's true. Yeah. Again, not on video, so yeah, the setup wasn't the best.
And that room was so hot. Worse than this.
Oh yeah, that was in the mezzanine.
Yeah, it was
wasn't
at the top. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've come a long way.
You've come a long way.
So we've gone from talking about Hot Fuzz to talking about mental health.
Yeah. Massive change.
Oh dear. Oh no. What's happened?
You've matured.
So yeah, there's no real. I don't think there's going to be any real structure to this episode as such. I'm going to try and shut up as much as possible. I'm finding this interesting. Just sort of looking. I'm just going to try and be quiet, really, and then just jump in when necessary. Keep it flowing, I suppose. I suppose that's my job as the host, just to keep it flowing, keep the fist fights to a minimal if it gets a bit heated. That's about it, really. But I guess we should start off with the fact that me and Danny are, in some capacity, coaching you with what you're doing at the moment, which is training for a 10K.
Yep, 10K. Week today.
And also, so Danny's doing the running stuff and all the exercise stuff, and I've been helping you out on the nutritional front.
Yep.
So I guess based on that, we've got a bit of skin in the game when it comes to having you on the show, but then also what we're doing behind the scenes, which, I guess relates to mental health and what we're going to touch upon. But yeah, as I said, there's no major thing we're going to start off with as such, but I guess without putting too much pressure on you, where would you like to kick things off? What do you want to touch upon first? What do you feel like is going to be maybe more of like an icebreaker? Maybe let's start just with something a little bit light, possibly, before it then gets into the heavy stuff.
Do you want to touch base now, like the impact of the last couple of months has had?
Yeah, I was going to start
the
there.
Running or Ben?
Yeah, so obviously I've struggled now for around about 8 years, but we'll start with the last sort of 3 months or so, and I was probably touching towards up to my heaviest. Danny, obviously, as you know from the last podcast, done a marathon, and as part of that, he was doing a fundraiser to run, I think it's 25 miles, is it?
Yeah.
Along the coast, and I said I would raise some money, which I did, which was brilliant, and run 5 miles. I didn't really run that. I ran it very slow. I walked a bit of it, and I didn't train for it, and I was really disappointed in myself because this was a big thing for Danny, and I'd gone out the night before as well, which was silly, and I really disappointed in myself, and I weighed myself the very next day, and I was touching up to 111, 112 kilos, and I was like, no, I need to do something about this because I enjoyed running before and I wanted to do it again. So I've been in touch with Ben anyway for quite a while, and obviously I knew he was doing his push-pull health, and I just thought this is a chance to do it, and he's helped me with writing out sort of training plans for me to follow different guidances on nutrition and more into that. He's taught me how to look into my calories, look into my protein intake, something I never did before. All I did was follow a plan, and that was it. And then Danny, I watched Danny in the marathon, and I turned to his wife and I was like, I want to do this. I want to run a marathon within 2 years. And she just said, do it then. So literally the next day, I said to Danny, I said, well, we want to do this. And he's written me out a 8 week plan. And we're on, well, we've just finished week 7 today. By the time this comes out, I'd have done my 10K, which is amazing. And I've got a 10K next week. And within those 3 months, I've lost coming up to a stone, 1.7 stone. And that's just helped me so much. So when I first started running, I was running a mile and I was out of breath. I would go home, I was miserable. And now I look forward to a run. Like even when I'm down, I finish a run and I feel so much better. Ben's been brilliant. He obviously messages me almost every day, and I'm quite honest with him. If I'm feeling down, it's a run or it's a gym session, and just I can't stress enough what exercise really does to you. It's sort of, I'm a man who likes to go out and likes my drink and stuff, but the feeling of going out for a run and like today, 4 miles, it was the best feeling in the world. So that's the last 3 months really, and I'm down to 101 kilos now, and hopefully by race day it'll be below 100. That's the aim anyway. It's been a good 3 months. It's been really, really solid. It's been consistent. That's the main thing. Consistency has always been key. I think everyone knows that, but it's hard to actually implement it. I've always said consistency is key, and you'll get the right results. And the amount of times I've gone for a 2-mile run once every 2 weeks, maybe the odd 5K every 6 weeks. And you're not going to get anything out of that. You're just not. After 6 weeks and you run again, you're back to square one. Whereas this, I've ran 3 times a week, sometimes 4, for 7 weeks. And now I can see a huge, huge difference, not only in my mental health, not only in my weight loss, but just the way I'm running. Like I'm running at a half decent pace, and I finish the runs with like a massive smile on my face every single time.
Mm. Do you think that going back to the mental health thing, having that focus on a goal, on running, on almost like an outlet, and also the nutrition as well, you're basically looking after yourself. So you're putting the right fuel in, you're not drinking as much because you're focusing on prioritizing runs. Do you think that's made a massive difference to how you feel? Like, if you're being honest, but 8 weeks ago to now.
Yeah, and routine. Routine is huge. I really struggle in half terms sometimes from what I work, because I work in a school, and so I will, on a Sunday, as Ben's got me to do actually, is start meal prepping, which I never used to do. So I enjoy that on a Sunday now, rather than waking up hungover and I can't be asked to do this. I'll leave it, and then I'll have a bad dinner on a Sunday, and then Monday I've got no lunch, so I'll eat whatever's at school, which isn't always healthy, and then I've started the week off badly. Now I'm into a routine where I'm meal prepping. I know what I'm eating at work. I finish work, I either go to the gym or I'm getting ready to go home for a run. Like, all that structure in place now is that I've got it in my head. At the beginning of the 8 weeks plan, I used to say to you, I can't be asked to go out for this run. Now I'm like, oh no, I've got to run. That's Tuesday, that's my run. Thursday, that's intervals. Sunday, I've got to run with Danny. So in my head now, obviously on a Friday, I'll get home from work, I'm knackered. I'll say, no, I'm not going out. And then now we run on a Sunday, which I'm glad we do, and not on a Saturday. It enables me to, I know it shouldn't, but it enables me to go, right, I can't go out on a Saturday. I can't drink, I can't do this. Like today, we ran at 9:30. So it's helped me to go, no, I've got to prioritise that, because that in the long run and in the short run is making me feel so much better.
It's good. It's about habit forming, isn't it? With, I think, like, trying to link it to mental health as well. Like, if you find yourself in a negative space, and like trying to add positive habits to your routine, to your week, it's difficult to start, but the more you do it, the more it becomes a lifestyle, doesn't it? Like, you now have almost like a lifestyle of running. Like you were saying, it's not a case of, Tuesday I've got to run. It's Tuesday I am running. There's not even a question. It's just what I'm doing. And having that really positive habit as, like, we'll just have such, I don't know, forward moving positive stuff to your sort of mental health and to your physical health and stuff like that. So it's good. It's been a good 8 weeks. Like you're saying, the consistency is what drives it as well, isn't it? Like, I think us, as a quote I say to you, is like, being consistently good is better than being occasionally great. Yeah, it's just turning up every day, whether that be the run or, you know, trying to get the right food in you, or just focusing on yourself. Even for some people, it's getting in the shower and looking after themselves,
making a bed in the morning.
Yeah. So I think the last 8 weeks has been a really good case study for that.
And don't get me wrong, like, it hasn't been an easy 8 weeks. I'm not going to turn around and go, oh, I've absolutely smashed every single run. I've had some bad runs. I've messaged you, haven't I? I've voice noted you and sent it over and gone, just like, I was really laggy after 20 minutes and I stopped for 30 seconds and then I ran and then I stopped a bit, and it's not been smooth sailing, but I would say the last 2 to 3 weeks have been pretty spot on. I think a lot of when I run with you, obviously I feel a lot better. I mean, I know you've got to be able to run on your own, but there's been times when I've done that 35-minute run and I've done it in 3.6. I've done 3.6 miles, so it's under 10 minutes per mile. That's, for me, on my own, was just a massive milestone, because I was running at 12, for people that understand, obviously, the miles, because I know people go in kilometres. I was going at 12.5 minutes per mile, and I was struggling with
like
that.
A nearly 40-minute 5K, basically.
Yeah, and now, for the first time ever, when was it? Last week? Was it this week? No, last week. I done without even realising, I done 29:30 5K. So my plan after this race was to try and run an under 30-minute 5K, and I've done it already without even realising it. So that, for me, that was just a huge, huge milestone.
I think there's always going to be that discrepancy when it comes to exercise and mental health. You're always going to have, well, not always, but a lot of people are going to have that issue initially where if their mental health isn't in a great spot, the motivation to want to start exercising isn't going to come, or it's going to be really, really difficult to get yourself exercising again. It's just trying to get over that hump, that initial 1 week, 2 week, 4 week, whatever it is, getting over that hump of trying to find a form of exercise that you can stomach a couple of times a week, because you'll find if you can get over that hump, your mental health will then, not for everyone, but for the vast majority, doing some form of exercise will dramatically improve your mental health. But as I said at the start, if your mental health is not in a good spot, the last thing you want to do is go to the gym. The last thing you want to do is go for a run, especially if you haven't found a form of exercise that you can stomach and ideally enjoy.
100. I've always said this as well, and obviously Danny said this with the running, but it's the same with the gym. The hardest thing is just getting out the door. As soon as you get out that door and then you start running, instantly fine. I don't know anyone who's gone to the gym, or even if you've had a bad run or a bad gym session, come away from that and felt worse. Like, I've had bad gym sessions where I've gone, oh, I could lift heavier than that, but I feel better. So I'd rather feel disappointed than not go. Because internal, you're going to feel so much better for it. The runs, the amount of times I think there was one run. I think this was before the training plan, and I got home. I was tired, and I just didn't go out. And then Danny said, "You're gonna feel tired. The hardest point is getting out." The next morning, I'd done the run. I felt more tired, and my legs felt more knackered than the night before. But I said to myself, "Get out that door." And I got out the door. I ran, and I felt so much better for it. And I've said this to my mates as well. I've got not new mates, but my mates who have just started taking up running, which is amazing to see. And that's what I say to them. The hardest point is just getting out that door, 1 foot in front of the other, and just go. It doesn't matter what speed you go at. When I started, Danny said to me, if you want to walk, you can walk, it's fine. But it's just getting out that door and starting to run. It's just, honestly, you feel so much better for it. And my mental health has dramatically changed from exercise and routine and running, especially. Like, knowing I've got a goal to go for, yeah, it just changes everything.
I think it's important to address, like, we've tried to do 10Ks 2 or 3 times before, haven't we, as well? And it hasn't, like, you haven't found that motivation that Ben was talking about. So, yeah, so that it is hard. Like, getting out the door, there is a process. It's just doing it, and like what that means for you, and what mindset you need to find yourself in, and what you need to work on first. Mostly from a mental health point of view, and from and you found that, thankfully, this time around, and you've got on that treadmill, and you've been sailing, which is amazing. But there's definite troughs, isn't there? That I've had them in my past, and
100%.
It's just important to address that exists as well. Like, and it's different levels of ease and difficulty for everyone.
Yeah, like I said, it's not plain sailing. I'm not going to turn around and say, "Oh, do this," and it help you dramatically. Like, it might not, but I just feel like get out there and give it a go. And I just feel like, obviously, I'm not going to turn around and say just because I've done well in 8 weeks, you can go and run a 6 miler. Like, you're going to have to work hard, and I've worked hard through your plan for that. I've worked really hard in the first 4 to 5 weeks to dig deep to be able to run how I am. I ran before, during lockdown was when I properly done running, because that's the only thing you could do. And I was running 2 miles. This was when I was down at 90 kilos as well. Bearing in mind, I'm about 101 now. And I could only do 2 miles at a time, the odd 5K, and I was knackered. My short run at the moment is 4 miles, and I'm at 101 kilos. So, like, within myself, that is just, for me, that is just a really, really good achievement. And I feel like anyone that gives running a go, like, it would really, like I said, I'm not going to turn around and go, "Oh, it's dramatically going to make you feel so much better." It might not. This is from my point of view, that it has helped so much. Even if you go for a walk, get out there and go for a 4 or 5 mile walk. Like, it's amazing what the headspace can do when you just get out there and do a little bit. Like, you're going to feel better than just sitting on the couch. From my point of view, from when I've been really, really down, and I mean really down, I've had it with you, even though you've tried to get me out. I've done this and I've just ignored everyone who messaged. I just want to be on my own and all that. And it's not good to be like that. You've got to get out there and you've got to try something. And I'm glad I'm in this headspace now where I've got a goal. Like, I've got a 10K next week. As soon as I've done that, I'm going to book another one. I want to constantly have that goal to go for. And that's made me feel better.
Yeah, I think like it's one of the notes I put down that I really wanted to say is like, you know how like when you mention mental health as a subject, you always lean towards like the negative of like someone's had depression, anxiety and stuff like that. But mental health is just like an overall thing that we all have. Like some people have mental health, and that they've been fortunate enough not to have to suffer from it, but they do have mental health, and it doesn't mean that it can't be worked on, or that there's certain things that you can do that top up that. Like for example, the running for you, and for others it might be walking or drawing. I don't know, whatever makes you feel happy.
Even reading a book, just something. And I believe that everyone, like you said, has got mental health, but it's what triggers it that comes out. Like for me, up to 24, 25, my life was easy for me. Like going out, having fun, enjoying myself. Like I had no cares in the world, no worries. Then I got into a relationship and it wasn't the best relationship. And it ended quite badly. And from there, it switched something in me. And from then on, I've struggled. I've really struggled. And I always said everyone's got a bit of mental health, but it depends what triggers it. And that for me was a trigger. It could be other past traumas, sort of your parents getting divorced or a lost. But I do believe that everyone has mental health, but it's what triggers it. And then from there, it's like, how can you help? What can help you? Because it's different for everyone. But for me personally, the running and gym is just... I get so frustrated in myself because I know exactly what will help me, but I never help myself. So when I've been at 115, 118 kilos, feeling sorry for myself, I know if I get in that gym, and I know if I go out for a run, I will feel so much better. And I don't. I beat myself up when I don't. So that's where it can get hard for some people, because I'd kind of motivate myself to get out the door when I was like that. So I'm not going to turn around and say, just get out the door, because it is hard. It took me ages to get into a headspace I am now. It does take a while, but once you're there, it's the best feeling. And literally talking to people as well, I can't stress it enough. The stigma behind not talking about your problems. I kept things in for so long, and as soon as I let it out to friends, family, it's just a weight off your shoulders. You're not going to have a good day every day. I don't. Even now during the training block, I have bad days. The job I'm in is quite stressful, so I still have my bad days. But I feel like I know my tools now to help myself, and I believe other people can find their tools. And I hope a lot of people start to take running, because I feel like that's an amazing tool to take.
Mm-hmm. I always say like an important part of it is regulating your emotions. So you're saying about like triggers and stuff like that, like, or you just wake up and it's just one of them days, you're just feeling really down, like you're just feeling like you don't want to do anything. And it's like those saying tools or habits or behaviors that you do that help you regulate those emotions. For some people it's anger, for some people it's like, proper sadness and stuff like that. And there are like methods of like, cognitive behavioral therapy that work for some, breathing, stuff like that help you sort of regulate those emotions. And running is that's mine. Like I get really tough, stressful day. We all get them at work and stuff. Just get out the door and run, and it just, it's like it's science, isn't it? All that all the serotonin and stuff. But yeah, it's not accessible for everyone. So finding your tools, wherever they may be, at the beginning of your journey, you don't have any, and it feels like I'm on my own. I'm stuck in this rut, and there's nothing I can do to make it worse. But find those tools, talk to people about it. They might be able to give you some advice. They might be able to, even if they're just there for you, they don't have to talk. They can just be there for you. And I think that's really important from someone who knows someone who suffers. Just being there is so important. Yeah. So what tools do you have, would you say, other than the running?
Gym is huge for me. I'd say, on par it's with running, but gym has always been my go-to every single time. I think I've done so many rants on social media about when I'm in the gym, I'm feeling my best. And that's why I get so angry at myself when I stop going to the gym and then I start eating really bad and then I get myself into bad habits. So gym's a massive one for me. Going out for a walk. I love a long walk. And when I mean long, I mean 7-8 miles. That's been a useful tool for me. And literally chatting to you, chatting to Dad, talking to my friends, which is something I could never do before because I always felt like I was weak if I'd done that, which is horrible because I know a lot of people do feel like that if they talk out.
I mean, I would argue there's a strength in being vulnerable.
Oh, massively. Yeah. It takes a lot to admit that you're struggling. It takes a huge amount. It took me a long time to admit that not there was something wrong with me, but like I wasn't right and I needed to seek help. And going to friends and family was really important for me to be able to be honest. I mean, I know I don't want to touch upon this too much because it weren't the greatest time, but I was really struggling at one point, and I was Danny's groomsman at his wedding, and Danny's going through a lot because he's going through a wedding, but he's also trying to be there for me, and I was struggling, but I was also being very selfish. And I remember he picked me up, and this was a light switch in my head, and obviously
it's on top of the King's Hole.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he picked me up from the King's Hall, and I was it's quite deep, but I was thinking about doing something really stupid, and my brother come and picked me up, and we had a talk for ages, and he was like, I'm getting married in a week, and he was like, I want you to be there with my groomsmen. You need to be there. And I think he was just a bit of tough love here towards the end, but he was like, someone needs to step in. So it depends how you want to do this. You know you can do this. And as soon as he said that, I was like, no, I'm groomsman. And then he was like, there you go. Then you come in, drop me home. And I remember thinking, what am I doing? Like, it's my brother's wedding next week. It's our birthday next week as well, because his wedding was the day after our birthday. And that was one of the incidents I had when I was really bad. That flicked a switch in me to go, I can do this. It's my brother's day. I'm going. I had the best night ever. The only problem I was a bit disappointed in him was I looked huge. I wanted to, but I was going for a bad time. And I had the best night. And from then, I never ever thought about doing anything that stupid again. But it was the best time. And I still struggle now, but I've never been at that point since Danny picked me up and had that conversation. That really helped. And I feel like if I didn't text him or ring him then, God knows what might have happened. To be honest, it's worrying to think. It really is. I look back and think, oh my God, like what was I doing?
Yeah, it goes to show, doesn't it? Like how important it is to have that support network in general.
Yeah, and my friends have been amazing as well. Like, I've got a good friendship group and a good family, and I've got a really good support network at work. Obviously, I haven't touched upon that too much, but I work as a teaching assistant for kids with autism, ADHD, which in my eyes is the best job in the world. I absolutely adore that job. It's made me understand ADHD more, autism more, and the traits and the signs and stuff. And when I see in people, I think, okay, yeah, you've got a bit of ADHD. And that's helped me as a person because I'm helping them, and that helps me. So I know I've got to turn up at work every single day because there's kids there that rely on me. There's kids there that know my name. They don't know many people's names there, but they know my name. They ask for me. So I know I'm in an important role, and that's helped me. That's helped my mental health, knowing I'm helping them. And the support work at work has been unbelievable. Obviously, if you're struggling at my work, you do get help there, which is amazing. Great support network there. And not only that, through the Benenden and the counselling there, you're like a family at my job, and you kind of have to be, because of the work you do, and everyone just sticks by each other, and everyone struggles in their own way at my job, and we got that network. So if I can't lean on, say, you or Dad or whoever, or I can't get out for a run or whatever, there's that support network there. So I've got networks around, which has been brilliant.
I guess the good thing about that, and I've seen it where I work, and I used to work for a homeless charity and a mental health project. There's a lot more of an emphasis and an awareness of people's mental health, and it's great to have tools and things that you do with yourself and have friends and people that you can talk to. That's incredible. But sometimes you do need that clinical support. You do need a therapist, or you do need a doctor or something like that. So I guess the moral is that holistic approach, making sure that if you're really bad and you need that therapist, use it. You got your work's allowing it, use it. Or if you need to talk and there's someone there, you can talk to, do that as well. Go for a run or drink some water. I don't know, whatever makes you feel better.
Well, I have. I have used them, which is amazing. Obviously, from my job, you get Benenden Care, which is private healthcare, and in that you do get free counselling sessions. Which, when I started, not long after I started, I was really struggling. This was about 3 years ago, and I did use them, and they were fantastic. And if you need to talk to someone, then going to a counsellor, going to therapy is really good to do. I was a bit skeptical at first. I wasn't sure. I thought, once again, is it going to make me weak? Can I try and deal with this myself? But sometimes going to them is amazing. The support they give you, the talk you have with them, they really, really do help you, and they give you sort of a broader understanding of what's going on. And they sometimes can give you, obviously they can't exactly tell you what you can and can't do, but they can give you the tools, they can give you the little nudge of what might be able to help. And I spoke about gym, I spoke about running a lot, and they simply just went, well, you could go for a run.
Yeah,
go for a run tonight.
Yeah.
I said, go for a run tonight, see how you feel. And that's what I did. That night, went out for a run. Well, not a big one, a couple of miles. Yeah, I just did 2 miles, didn't I? And it helped. That's the main tool for me. And the good thing about my job, sorry, segueing away from that, is when the kids are struggling, we've got to find tools to help them. So I'm constantly in that. I'm finding tools for me. I'm finding tools for them. So that's helped me, because I obviously knowing what tools help for certain people has helped me as well.
Yeah, and when I was a kid, or even when I was a teenager, even when I was in my early 20s, there was such a lack of emphasis or understanding on mental health, or even aware. There wasn't. I don't remember even talking about it at school. I don't know if you guys remember that. Was there any chats from our teachers or anything? So, hard cut to now where there is a good awareness and people are opening and talking about it. It's so important just to if we didn't know someone was going through something like that, and you just wouldn't know what to do, you just go, especially if you don't go through anything yourself. But if there is that awareness and everyone knows, and you were saying you've developed your own tools, or you support other people, and I've worked and done some coaching stuff with my project, you almost can. It's almost like a bit like first aid, isn't it? You can step in and go, right, I'm going to try and support this person that I care about. 20 years ago, that just didn't exist. So that's a really good thing, I think. Don't you?
Well, I'd say going up to, like you said, people didn't really know. like I said, going up to 25, I didn't even know people. I know people used to say I've got anxiety and all this, and I used to think I don't know what that is. And it was only until I went for that breakup I understood how bad anxiety was.
It shouldn't be. You have to go through it.
No.
And
No.
that happened to me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was trying to understand. I remember when people were saying anxiety and stuff, and I was trying to sort of understand it and stuff, and I couldn't really understand it, and unfortunately I had to go through it to understand it, which wasn't nice.
It's like being thrown in the deep end to learn how to swim.
Yeah, basically, and that's why it's nice now that you've got all that support network, and you've got all more understanding of mental health. Like I feel like that's from a personal point of view, like it's something that should be brought up in school as well.
I think it is now.
Is it
I
a
think
topic
so.
now? Okay.
Yeah.
I think that'd be an amazing tool to have, just so people have an understanding growing up of the struggles and what's going on. But yeah, it's nice to know now you've got more support network, you've got more understanding, you've got more tools, you've got more everything. Especially sort of online as well, and or anywhere else, you can try and access that. It does help.
Lovely, thank you. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah. I was just looking at the screen there because that battery's about to go dead, I think. So that's what I've been freaking out about the last 20 minutes. So actually, I may as well just change it now. I need to get a nice chair. I'm just so uncomfortable.
It's like being at school.
Bloody tiny little table. So uncomfortable.
These chairs.
Yes, I'm doing that.
Back kills.
Yes. Like you're talking about really, like a serious subject, and you're talking about yourself, and I'm just like...
To be fair, I've been looking at Dan the whole time, so I didn't even notice.
Again, it's probably not that bad, but like for me, I'm just...
You can
yeah, that's good.
You can get why, like when you see some of these podcasts, they're on their sofas.
Oh, yeah.
Like that'd be a dream. What about
That's
that?
what you need to do. You need to get some sofas in here.
Well, I've got that red chair, but...
It's a bit ominous, isn't it?
Behind that curve.
That's all right then, yeah.
Okay, go on then. Right, so I can't remember where we were. We've had to stop recording because I had to change the batteries on this wacky little thing.
Is that a metaphor for people recharging? I don't know, probably not.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right, yeah. Recharge the old batteries to resume our conversation.
Sleep, maybe that's...
Oh,
Yes.
God. Oh, I don't want to get back into that again. Unless you've got something to say about sleep.
Oh, that's helped me so much. From well, to be fair, from the plans you've sent me, you have said that getting enough sleep is so important. I never thought sleep was important, to be fair. I always slept. I would say if I had work, I'd get up at 7. I'll go to sleep about 1:30. For me, that'd be fine. And I used to wake up, I used to feel so tired, lethargic, and obviously had a bad diet as well. And since being with you, Push Ball Health, and running with Danny...
Needs to come up with a name.
What, running with Danny?
Push Ball Health.
That's what most people are called. Push Ball Health's just like...
Push Danny.
I'd have been
Ball
way better
Health.
off just saying Ben Davis Fitness,
Stride.
Ben Davis Health. The only person who cares about Push Ball Health is me. The name, oh, bloody Push Ball Health. What a great name. No one cares. No one cares.
You'll catch.
Well, it's funny because I do a push set and a pull set at the gym, don't I?
Would you say that I have pushed your health from the pools of life?
You certainly pushed my health, yeah.
From the pools of life?
Are you trying to get him to do a soundbite? So Ben has pushed my...
I just no, like so the pools of life. What are your pools, O'Shea? Sean. What are your
Well, mine are...
what are your pools? What's the main pools in your life that you would say that Ben from Push Ball Health has potentially pushed you away from them?
Oh, you've pulled me away from bad habits, for sure.
Bad sleep.
Sleep. Literally, I'm sleeping 8 to 8.5 hours of sleep. 8.5 hours sleep a night, whereas before I was doing 5. And I'm waking up and feeling more energized. The food, like you've helped me with that. And another thing I touch on with Ben is when I've been with PTs before, and they obviously they write out a training plan for you, and they write out a nutrition plan, and basically I followed the meals and the diet and stuff I was given. And I never questioned it. I done well with it. I'm not going to say I didn't. I done well. But the one thing with Ben is that he asked me about calorie counting, about your protein, how many carbs you're getting in, and I was like, what are you on about? Well, I followed a training plan, and that's what I did. And he was like, so you don't know anything about what I've just said? And I said, no. And he was just gobsmacked. And to him, this is what's brilliant with him is he gets you. He doesn't just write out a training plan and just go, right, follow that. He teaches you like along the way how much protein you got to get in, how much fats you got to get in, how much carbs, how many calories roughly you need to work with. Count your calories. Don't just assume with the calories I've just given you. Sort of count them yourself, and then you kind of. It's more of a in your head. I'm like, oh, well, I'm doing this myself now, rather than obviously I've got Ben there, but obviously I'm doing it myself. He's not doing it for me. He's just giving me the tools to be able to do it, so I can do it. That's one thing that that's helped me is knowing about protein, knowing about carbs, and knowing about that. Whereas before I never knew. You kind of laughed it off, didn't you? It's like, how do you not know?
No, well. So I push you out from the pause live.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
And it's not been long. What, 3 months?
Yeah, but that's one of the issues with a generic meal plan. Yeah, you'll lose weight because you just stick to the meal plan. Yeah. Whatever the calories are, you stick to the calories for X amount of time until then you maybe have to then adapt because you've lost weight and you've become a smaller person, or you need to increase your expenditure or whatever you need to do to keep losing weight. But yeah, you don't learn anything. So if you were with a previous personal trainer for what, a year, give or take, I think you said?
No, it wasn't even that long. About 8 months.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, 8 months is a good amount of time.
9 months, maybe. Yeah.
And the whole point of what I'm trying to do, and which I think hopefully most personal trainers or anyone who's doing anything, counselling, and whatever you're doing, trying to help someone with their health in some capacity, is that you're trying to get them to the point where they can go off and do it by themselves, or they feel confident enough to be able to track their nutrition, track their training. Some people just like the accountability. So some people stay long term because they know that if they leave, that the chances are they're going to fall off the wagon. So they need to have that accountability with the gym. They need to have that twice a week, which they've got. It's an appointment. They don't want to miss it, because if they take themselves away from that and they're left to their own devices and they've got to motivate themselves to go to the gym and be mindful of how many calories they're eating and what they're eating, blah, 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 they know that there's a high probability that even though they've learned all these tools, they still might not have the motivation to do it consistently. But if you're not doing that, then I'm not really doing my job. But it's quite easy, isn't it? It's quite easy for me just to dip you enough information, because that means that if I just give you just breadcrumbs, you know a little bit, but you don't know enough. So you never feel confident enough to go, oh, do you know what? Thanks very much. It's been really, really beneficial. But I'm all right now. I've sort of got a decent routine. I can go off by myself. If I ever fall off the wagon a little bit, or I need a bit of whatever, go on holiday, I have an injury where I can't train and my nutrition goes off the deep end for any reason, I can maybe come back for a couple of months, or we can do some stuff online. So that's a big thing now, online coaching, which a lot of people, yeah, it's cost effective maybe for some people, but also they don't need to see people face to face because they're confident enough to go to the gym. They've got a decent idea about how to track the nutrition if they're doing any form of tracking anyway. So yeah, I think it's very easy just to provide the bare minimum for people so they never feel confident enough to go, do you know what? I'm all right. I'm in a good spot. Which is, yeah, I guess from a business perspective, it makes sense, doesn't it?
I think that's the problem with some PTs. That's what they will do. I'm not saying all, because there are some amazing PTs out there, but there are some that will just dangle you enough information just to bring in that paycheck every month. And it's quite upsetting to see sometimes, especially when other PTs are out there that will help, like you have with me, with knowing exactly what I'm putting in my body and taking a bit of accountability as well of what I'm doing. I've always been comfortable enough to go into the gym. I've obviously training and stuff, I kind of know what I'm doing in that sense, but nutrition and all that I've always struggled with. And in past, like I said, I've had meal plans. So that's why it's nice and refreshing with you. Like I'm learning as I go. Like each day I'm learning. And it's nice now, I'm at work and I have my lunch and I go, oh, I've got to log that. So I know I've got to log it. So it's good for me. It's helped me massively. Knowing, logging it, looking at the end of the day, and when I click complete day and go, right, that's the calories I've had, that's the protein I've had. And when you spoke to me a couple of weeks ago about upping the protein, I've been going right mindful of going into the vault that you've given me and seeing extra protein things. Okay, right, that's my next shop at Aldi then. Let's get these protein yogurts, or let's get that protein thing, and maybe an extra protein shake at the end of the day, and that's an extra 30-40 grams of protein. And now I know, okay, now I'm quite consistent around 200 grams now, whereas I'm kind of understanding now what I need to do. Like sometimes I don't even look, and I go, I'm probably on about 140, 150, and then I'll log it, and it's exactly that. So I kind of knowing within myself of what I'm putting in my body, rather than before I had no clue.
Yeah, and the thing with tracking is that it works the same. It's the same premise when it comes to picking a form of exercise that you enjoy and that you can stick to. Some people can't stand tracking; they just can't do it. They don't want to track the calories. They don't want to weigh themselves. They don't want to measure themselves. They don't want to do it. They don't care about it, which isn't a problem. But if you want to get long-term results, you need to try and find, and that's my job, I suppose, is trying to find a form of tracking initially that's going to work for you. Trying to find a form of exercise that you can stomach, that you can do consistently. There's no point coming to the gym twice a week if you're miserable.
No.
And you're just trying to get it done. I'm working with just the general populace, where it's people are busy, stressed, family. They don't give a shit about protein. So I've always got to rein myself back in, because I've been doing it for a number of years. I'm really interested in it. So if I say to someone, so what do you normally have for breakfast? Or how much protein do you get? And they go, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, okay, right. Protein? No. What's that? Oh, right, yeah. Fine. But then I say, what do you normally have for breakfast? Oh, well, I have like, a croissant, like 4 croissants. Oh, do you? Okay. What's that, like 200 calories? Not quite. A bit more than that. Is it? Yeah. For me, this is now just the norm. So I have to always bring myself back in and go, hang on a minute, I was there at some point. I didn't have a clue about this. And people got other things to worry about. They don't necessarily want to be being OTT when it comes to tracking their protein intake. And that's all right. So it's just trying to find the balance for who you're working with and what's going to work for them, as opposed to here's this, here's that, do this for 6 weeks. Yeah, you'll get results, but you might be completely miserable the whole time.
Ever since I've started tracking, it's made me like gobsmacked about the calories in certain things. Like a Bourbon's biscuit. So 87 calories a biscuit.
Yeah, they add up.
Obviously, at work they have biscuits and stuff, and when we go out on trips we get biscuits, and it was only when I went, I'm just curious to track it, so I tracked it, and it was 87 calories a biscuit. I think we do sausage rolls at school and bacon twists and stuff, and I logged, I think, a sausage roll just because I was curious, just to see how many calories were in it, and it was like 500 and something calories, and I'm thinking people are having that. Some people at work have 2 or 3. That's 1,500 calories, yeah.
Isn't it?
And like a whole pot of Pringles, the big ones, which I used to do daily, if not every other day at least. 1,500 calories in just one tub of them.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are living in an obesogenic environment where there's just lots of quick, high-calorie options, which is a pain in the arse. But then also, a lot of us are moving ahead of a lot less than we were 50 years ago, 100 years ago. So calories are everywhere, and we're moving less. Yeah, we've even got electronic bin lids. We can't be asked to put our foot on the bin to open the lid. Hover your hand over, it opens. That saves a few calories. Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, let me just Uber Eats. Let me just get that. You might have to get off the sofa.
Working from home. No one cycles to work or walks to work.
Yeah.
You work from home, don't you?
Yeah. But I do run 20 miles a week.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
But and I suppose when it comes to tracking and linking it back into mental health, as I touched on, you've got to find a form of tracking, ideally for someone who's starting off, just to get the ball rolling if they want to see some form of results. But for example, doing weighing yourself. Now, a lot of people don't mind weighing themselves, especially when they get used to, and this is probably catered towards more women, but they get used to the daily fluctuations in weight. And they get used to the fact that they can stick to their diet, everything can be great, and then for a whole host of reasons, they get to the end of the week and they're 2 kg up. Some people, once they get over that barrier and they get used to weighing themselves every day, so then you can work at your weekly average, great. Some people just don't get on with it at all. They just can't get over that hump. And I think you had that to a degree where you knew that you were tracking your calories, you were doing your exercise, and you were getting to the end of the week and you were heavier than you expected. And then
when I started,
that was quite draining.
Yeah, when I started, I was weighing myself every day, and I got to the end of the week, and there was sometimes I was heavier, and I didn't understand it because I was sticking to my diet, I was sticking to that, but then obviously you taught me about weight fluctuations. Perfect example of that was this morning. I weighed myself, and I was a bit heavier than last week, and I thought, oh, that makes sense. I've done really well this week. I got out for a run, and I'm not saying a run should make a huge difference, because I do this every week. Obviously, I didn't tell you this. I'll weigh myself and do your check-ins with you, and then I'll go home after my run and I'll weigh myself because I'm always curious just to see the difference. And normally there's not much difference. It's the same or a tiny bit less. Whereas today it was like 0.5, like lighter. So that's why I'm trying to think, well, was it because I woke up and just weighed myself straight away because I'd eaten a little bit late the night before? Just little things, and then I've gone out for a run, and that's just released. Well, obviously, I don't know a lot about that sort of stuff. That'd be more your department. But after that run, I sort of back down to 101 point something. Thank God for that. That's where I wanted to be. It was 101 something. So when I saw 102.4, I was so annoyed because I was like, I want to be in that 101s now to then be hopefully under 100 next week. So it's just really weird how going for that run and then I just shot right down.
Yeah, and that's probably the issue with only weighing yourself once a week on your check-ins, because you're not getting that weekly average. So Friday you might have been 101 whatever, but today for whatever reason you're in the 102s.
It's weird how it works.
You can manipulate your weight tenfold over the course of just a day. So if you step on the scales now and you're all 101, and then I get you to down half of that, you'll be probably 0.5 kg heavier within 2 minutes. So the only way to really get a realistic number for your current weight is to do those daily weigh-ins. But again, for many, it's too much, and it's not worth it. And from a psychological perspective, it's crippling.
I think maybe for me, I was weighing myself at the beginning, and at the beginning of my journey with you, I wasn't exactly. I stuck to my diet, but I was going out a lot, wasn't I? The first couple of weeks. So obviously my weight was fluctuating through the week because of that, and then towards the end of the week it would only start to come back to normal, and then I'd go out again and it would kind of like reset. So maybe now is a good time to start sort of doing that again, introducing that just to see. Potentially,
but you know more than me if that number's not where you want it to be during the week.
It's just more frustrating. It's just frustrating because I know I'm sticking to it. I know I'm not eating anything bad. I know the calories I'm having is a lot less than I've had before, and I know I'm working out 5 times a week. That's run and gym. So I'm doing all the right things. So obviously when you see things like that, it can get a bit disheartening. sort of especially during the week.
The thing about tracking, obviously you're tracking your weight, but there's so many factors you can track along the journey. Let's say you give yourself how do you feel out of 10 at the beginning of it, and now it's probably going to be, and you could argue that how you feel is more important than how much you weigh.
Well, when I started the journey,
along the way, throughout the week, after exercise and stuff like that. And even the weight gives you a picture of stuff that you can measure. You can drill down into your body fat percentage, and you probably gain muscle through going to the gym and stuff like that. So gaining weight, water weight and stuff like that obviously is an effect. So
I've noticed a difference.
To factor in when you think about it.
Yeah, I've noticed a difference in my muscle mass when I'm from taking photos and stuff and looking at myself in the mirror and stuff. It's only now I'm starting to notice some definition changes, which have been good. And also when I do my weigh-ins or when I do my weight, it tells me my muscle mass and stuff, and that's increased by 2.4% or something. So
does it do body fat as well?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
So you're monitoring that.
Wait, what's this on scales?
Yeah.
How accurate are they?
I'd be a bit careful of those. Well, the only thing with those type of things is that you've got like the bod pod type things. Have you seen the things that you hold on to the?
Yeah.
So that implies that there's an electric current going through your body to be able to, just by holding those, to be able to measure your fucking bone density and your body fat and visceral and subcutaneous fat. I don't know.
It's the visceral that I've kept an eye on, but like you said to about my scales, because it's really frustrating. So when I weighed myself this morning, I was heavier. I said, didn't I? And so obviously I have to log it and stuff, but it says, oh yeah, my body fat has gone up slightly on it just because the weight's up.
Yeah.
And it's really annoying because I'm like, my body fat's definitely not gone up.
Yeah, the only like, well, the gold standard for measuring body fat is doing a DEXA scan, which like athletes will get, and even that is not 100%. You've got calipers, you can get the measuring tape out, but it depends how. Again, it goes going back to mental health. How does it make you feel? And realistically, using those type of scales, and you get more like advanced ones when you go to the gym. It's just it helps people from a psychological perspective, because if you go into the gym and you have your console and then you go into the pod and you start holding all these fucking dildos and all this shit, you're like, hold on to that.
That's something from South Park, isn't it?
Yeah. oh, Mr. Garrison. Yeah. If you start doing all that stuff, it will go, oh, look at this, and I've seen it, and it's pretty putrid. It's disgusting because.
Yeah, you have to get your socks off as well, which isn't.
Yeah, so it's more about people coming in. They get these numbers. They go, right, this is where you are with your body fat, and then 4 weeks later, 6 weeks later, do the same test, and you'd hope if they've stuck to their routine and their nutrition's been half decent, body fat will go down. All whatever measurements that the scales are taking or the machine's taking will go down. So from a psychological perspective, the client has gone, oh, yes, excellent. Yeah, okay. Oh, so do you want to stay on for another 6 weeks? Fucking absolutely, I do. But at the same time, at the start, when someone comes in and they go, yeah, I'm a little bit, I've sort of let myself go a little bit and I need to lose weight. Oh, jump on the scales. Oh, dear. Oh, that's not looking too good. Without saying it. So they go, oh, what's the damage? Oh, 28.8 body fat. Visceral fat's not looking good. You're probably going to die. So maybe sign up. Oh, okay, yeah, shit. Oh, I will do, yeah. I've seen it. It's gross. I think there's the go-to for a lot of gyms where they get like a more, say, advanced scanner. So it's a bit more advanced than stepping on your scales. Yeah. But it's sort of doing the same thing. The accuracy is going to be off, shall we say.
I have questioned that when I weigh myself now. I always go, like, how accurate are they? I've had them scales a long time, let's be honest. I've had them 4 years. 3-4 years.
It's more of a psychological thing. But why do you need to? Like you said, it links in. If you've put on weight, or you're carrying a bit more water weight, or whatever the reason is as to why you're not hit the number that you wanted to hit on that day, it will then say, oh yeah, and your body fat's gone up.
Yeah, and then your BMI's gone up. Everything else goes up. Yeah, how?
Yeah, it's like Joe brought up Strava last time around. That when you do the premium version, there's loads of monitoring and tracking that it does, and you can get really obsessed with it. Like you could like to the point where. So my Garmin watch is quite an expensive watch, but I invested in it so that I could help my marathon and stuff. Because of my tattoo on my left arm, it doesn't scan my heart rate that accurately when I go above 150. So I was doing about 3 or 4 weeks trying to do really high intensity workouts, and my heart rate wasn't going above 150. So my Strava was basically saying, "You're not working hard enough," and I'm like, "Yes, I am. I'm dying out there." But just because Strava's like, "No, mate, you're not trying." You almost look at it and go, maybe that is right. And it's like, no, like, you know how you feel. Just check in with yourself. You don't need technology to tell you that you're knackered. Do you know what I mean? Or you feel good, or you're feeling fitter.
It's the same with Whoop, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
It's
just apply numbers to it. It's
a slippery slope, isn't it? When it starts to almost become a game, when it's gamified, it's a bit of a slippery slope, because then you can then wake up in the morning and you look at your Whoop score and it's in the bin. But you might have slept all right, or you just feel all right. You go, I feel all right. But judging by your Whoop score, you're dead.
Yeah, there was a study.
So it's like, I better not go to the gym then. I better just go back to bed because I'm dead, because that's what Whoop says. Fucking hell, well, maybe just carry on your day. No, fucking hell, look at this. I'm in the red. How do you feel? I feel all right, actually. That's why I can't believe it. Okay. Right, just maybe use some common sense then. They're useful. They can be in a sense, but it's like everything else. Mental health. How does it make you feel? If you wake up in the morning and you're trying to actively improve your Whoop score by doing all this wacky stuff and trying all these wacky supplements and getting to bed at like 6 p.m. to try and get a 12-hour night's sleep, just so you're in the green on your Whoop score, or Strava, if you're looking at like your mate's got a new PB and you're like, oh, I wasn't really due for a run tonight. I'm having a recovery day. Oh, that fucking arsehole, he's got a PB. Oh, shit, I might go out then.
The big one is...
Then you go twist your ankle. Oh, shit, okay. That wasn't worth it.
I'm running further than Danny at the moment. Because when it links into mine, it's normally a little bit less than him. So say I'm on 3.33, he's on 3.41. And I'm like, how?
So even down to the GPS, isn't it?
It's really annoying. I'm running like, how much am I running every run?
Good 0.05 miles.
Like half a mile further.
Basically 100 metres. 100, not that far.
I think it's half a mile.
0.05.
Oh.
Yeah, so far. But yeah, one of the big things in Strava, right, they have these segments. Have you seen this?
Not particularly, no.
Okay, so someone creates a segment on their run and they name it something, and then it becomes an official segment. So whenever you run that bit, you log a time on that segment, and then you basically want to be the quickest in that segment, or the local legend. And the local legend is the person who just does it the most. So you could be really slow, but as long as you do it more than someone else, you're the local legend. So that around your local route, if you're doing lots of runs, you end up becoming a local legend of these segments. But if someone else pips you, you get like an email and a notification going, Greg Wilkinson's just become a local legend. You're gonna let him get away with that? And it's just like this weird like mentality thing of like, fuck, I've got to go out and do this segment.
Is that how they actually say it on the email?
Not far away. It's a lot of implying. But yeah, no, it's interesting, isn't it? How it does that? How it like forces your brain to turn it into a game, but it's still your physical health that you're mucking about with, isn't it? With that stuff.
Yeah, I think that just goes to show, doesn't it? Every form of tracking, even tracking that is good for your health, or that you want to do because you like to track, it can be a slippery slope. You're always on that line where it's useful, but maybe it's not useful all the time, or in the long term, maybe it's not the best. So the irony is that you do all this tracking and you do all this stuff to try and improve your health, physical and mental, but it can lead to degrading your physical health and then certainly your mental health.
You don't want to be obsessed over it, do you? That's the thing.
Yeah, so
you don't want to like. I share all my runs on my social media, Instagram and all that. Only because I look back. It's an achievement for me. I can look back at the end of the day and go, "Oh no, I've done that." And then same with Strava. I always go on Strava and have a little look and see what everyone else does. But the one thing I don't do is obsess over who's done what. I see people in there do a 19-minute 5K. That's probably 10 minutes quicker than I can do it. But I'm not going to go, right, I'm going to get that.
Well, yeah, you've got to be realistic, haven't you? But you've also got to, the only person you compare yourself to is yourself,
Yeah,
type
100%.
thing, isn't it? Which is hard, isn't it? It's, especially in the world we live in now. It's almost impossible. Because if you've had a good run, just go on Strava. No, you didn't. Look what Steve got. Get yourself back out. It's not easy, is it?
Well, what's that stat when people go, you think you're a bad runner, and it's like only a certain amount of percent will run a 5K, a certain amount of percent will run a 10K, and like 1% will run a marathon. So just feel like, and that thing I shared to you on Instagram was when, that run was a little bit slow today. But do you remember when you couldn't even think you could even run a 10K? And that's how I feel now. I mean, I used to run 2 miles and sometimes run them quick, and I'd be really happy. I'd send it to Danny and go, look, I've done a 17.5-minute 2 miler, but that's all I did. Now I'm going to run 6.2 miles next Sunday. I'm running consistently 6 miles, 4 miles.
Hedonic treadmill. Have you heard of that? No. You achieve something, you think about, normally it relates to like money and status. You get to a certain point, you get the big house, you get the 6 figures, whatever you're trying to retain. And then you think, once I get there, I'll be happy. Once I get the 6 figures, once I get the Ferrari, I'll be good. I'm miserable now. Life sucks. But once I get that, I'm all right. And then you get there, and then maybe a week, maybe 2, that you're like, oh, yes, I've reached the top of the mountain. I'm really happy. And then you become unhappy again. Not necessarily unhappy again, but you just... that happiness spike that you had is gone. And now it's like, oh shit, now what do I need to do?
People are always striving for more. That's the problem. You get to a good point and they go, well, I want more.
It's also the arrival fallacy, isn't it? Like if you've been working towards something for years and you put loads of effort into it, and when you actually do it, there's a lot of like, what now? Like Olympic medalists get that, don't they? Where they've like worked their whole life just trying to get a medal. They get it. And they've gone like, I've done the ultimate achievement here. Like, what's the next step? And it can really affect your mental health and stuff like that. If you get to that point and you struggle, like not knowing what your purpose is, sort of thing. It's like professional footballers retiring and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it's huge in professional. It's coming out more now. Professional footballers. It didn't over the last sort of 20 years, but. Definitely now, especially likes of sort of Championship, League 1, League 2, they haven't got the financial gain from a Premier League footballer. I got, do you remember Josh Staunton? He retired from football this year. He was captain at Yeovil.
Our year?
He's 29.
Oh, really?
29. I think he's always had problems with his knee, but he's always been around League 2, sort of National League level. He's always been quite a good player, but obviously he's had to retire, and he luckily for him, he's come across his own business. So he cuts grass and stuff for like local like cricket clubs and everywhere. It's grown quite well in the last sort of 6 months to a year, but when you come away from that, from football, like, what do you do now? You need to find a job. You're not on 200 grand a week. So that must be really, really hard for them sort of footballers.
Yeah, like the lower ones, definitely. Right?
Yeah.
It's a living wage, and then
it's not a lot.
Whilst you're playing football, you're not gaining experience that you can take away. That's why a lot of them try and go into coaching.
Just about to say that.
Like there's only enough space for coaches and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's been... What was this? There's been numerous studies, I think. Do you know Daniel Kahneman? No. Thinking Fast and Slow. So I think he and someone else did a study about how much money you need to earn to be happy. On average, going any higher than, say, 6 figures. Anything higher than that. If you go from, say, 40 to 60, £1,000 a year or whatever, that's a big bloody deal. That's going to significantly improve your life potentially. If you go from 80 to 100, maybe not as much. And then anything over, say, 100K, depending on what type of lifestyle you have, it's like
I think
more money doesn't necessarily mean more happiness.
I think this is what I've noticed as well, especially with me from changing jobs. I'm on a lot more money now than I was before, but I'm still spending the same sometimes. It's almost like once you get more money, you seem to just spend more money. I don't know if it's just a me thing. Like other people are quite good with money, but I notice it a lot with people. Like if they get more money, they seem to just spend more money.
I think the biggest thing when it comes to money is that the more money you earn, the chances are the more work you have to put into obtain the money in the first place. If that's what you want to do, great. If you love your job and you love working, no problem. But earn more money. But I think on average, the closer you get to say 6 figures or whatever, the more work you have to put in to earn it. As long as you're enjoying it outside of working and it's bringing you happiness. But unfortunately, again, probably going back to the hedonic treadmill. Yeah. You buy the Porsche and you're, oh yes, this is what I wanted. This is why I did the extra. This is why I'm working 100 hours a week for the last 5 years. For my family, potentially, but we go on a nice holiday and we can go on like a hotel that's £1,000 a night or whatever. And also the Porsche, but get the Porsche. Still working 100 hours a week. Then what?
Don't get to drive it.
You get to do your little 5-minute commute to and from the office. Maybe.
You're probably stressed out your eyeballs.
Yeah.
Not sleeping well, there's a lot of...
It's becoming harder now, though, isn't it? Because with the living crisis, it's becoming, that number's going up and up because it has to be. Because now people that were earning maybe a salary that was good enough and that covered the basics for them and their family is now not, chances are it's now not going to be enough. And they're going to have to earn more money and work more to potentially earn more money. So it's becoming more and more of a problem.
And it's really competitive to get those like higher roles. So it's like harder, like in industries where there are roles that are high. If you can develop yourself, but there's not enough roles to go around. That senior level is there. So
yeah, well, it's the old, you need to have X amount of experience in this. It's like, yeah, no, but how do I get experience in it if I don't get a job in it? Oh, you must have 2 years experience in this. Yeah, I know, but I need to be given the job first to get experience in it. So where do I get the experience? Well, I don't know. It's not my problem. You haven't got the experience, fuck off. Anything else you want to touch on in particular? Before I go through my pliffy list of shit?
No, I think we've touched pretty much everything. It's just of what the tools that have helped me, the tools that have helped Danny. I think for anyone listening, if you could just try them tools. It might not help for you, like Danny said. You can draw in, read in, sort of anything. If you can just try, and this is what I try and do as well. I mean, I haven't spoke about this yet, but I used to write the do's and don'ts, the do's that help me and the don'ts that don't help me. Going for sort of through my journey, I've tried other things before, what might help, whether that be reading a book and stuff, and I'd always write that in my do's and don'ts, and that's helped me, and I still got that to this day. I started writing that 8 years ago, and I've got like a sort of mini little journal at home, so I try and touch base to that when I'm really struggling. So that might be an idea to do, sort of writing down what will help and what won't.
Yeah, I think too many people have got to-do lists. Maybe they should have like a done list instead. Yeah. Because there's always stuff to do. Where I'm waking up and then I've just got so much to do. And that's not me saying I've just got so much to do compared to everyone else. I mean, I'm already in debt. I wake up and I'm already in the hole. I'm like, oh no, I'm so behind. And I've just woken up. Oh shit. I was like, look at my to-do list. And I was like, oh no, how am I going to get all this done today? Not good. As opposed to waking up and going, right, okay, I've got lots of stuff to do like everyone else has. What can I do? Let's make a list of stuff that I've done today. Let's try and just tick that off. Oh, I did that today. I'll tick, right. Rather than look at the to-do list at the start of the day and the end of the day and go, oh my God, I've got so much to do. Or at the end of the day, oh God, I haven't done anything. Yeah. You go, well, hang on. Like, if you list all the stuff you did do today, oh, well, I did this, I did that. Well, it's not too bad then, is it? Oh shit, okay, yeah, no. Maybe that might be something for some people, depending on what type of job. Well, no, actually, I don't think it depends on what type of job you've got or what your living arrangements are, or whatever you're doing. I think that could apply to most people. I think
try and do what works for you. Everyone is different. Some is going to be harder, some is going to be not, but just try and do what works for you. And that's what I've learned. I've so many times I've tried copying friends or other people, and I've seen them, okay, that works for them, and it hasn't worked for me. Gym and running has been my main thing that's helped me. So just try and do what works for you. And it's not easy, it's not, but
I think in the process as well, it's so important to give yourself a break, because and like you were saying, acknowledge those successes and acknowledge those victories. That sometimes they're tiny, but there's still a positive movement in the right direction. And sometimes you do take one step back, but you'll take 2 steps forward throughout the rest of the week. So you have to take it as a whole, don't you, the week or the month or however you want to read it. But yeah, give yourself a break and try and be your best friend as well. Like, try and help encourage yourself. Like, I know it sounds a bit strange, like talking to yourself, but yeah, that I think some people are so harsh to themselves in their own head. Like, we're all our own worst enemy. We all judge ourselves worse than anyone ever would. But we are the only person that we ever get to be. So just try and be your best friend in the process.
That's huge. Praising yourself is massive, because there's some people. So you're waking up today, you're struggling, but you've woken up today. There's other people that can't wake up today. So just use that you're getting up, you're doing something, you're still here. Start another day.
Gratitude as well.
Yeah. Always give yourself gratitude. That's what I've started to do. I've started to be proud of myself now, where I never used to be. I used to go, I've done this, I've done that. Like you said, ticking stuff off. So if you're getting up every single day, you've got something in you to do this, because other people can't.
Even down to like running, like, grateful for your health, the fact that you can run.
Yeah,
grateful for our youth that's still dwindling.
But that was another thing. I'm watching my brother and I'm thinking, well, I'm 33 this year. I want to run a marathon by the time I'm 35, because I'm not getting any younger. Like, my knees are starting to hurt a little bit, my back. My groin's been going for like a year and a half. I'm thinking I want to be able to do stuff while I can, because there's other people that I can't do that. There's people that can't run, there's people that can't walk. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, I want to do that. I can run. I want to be able to do stuff while I can. And so that was the aim. A marathon by 35, half marathon by 34. And with the mental health stuff, it's crazy what it's done for me, especially in the last 3 months. It's been huge. Because 3 years before that, well, it hasn't been great. But using the tools that Danny's helped, what you've helped, it's crazy. It's crazy what it can do to you, especially the mindset as well. It's changed my mindset into, no, I can do this, not I can't.
I think it's a combination of building resilience and muscle memory in your mind. So if you're, if you've been through a lot of difficult times, a lot of trauma and stuff like that, it's you can deal with it better each time, because you go, oh, here's that beast again coming around the corner. Yeah. But then the more you've done those tools, the more, sometimes you don't even have to think about it, and you just change your breathing, or you just nip out the door and go for a walk, and you probably subconsciously are reacting to how you're feeling that day, and you're regulating your emotions. You're going outside, you're trying to do something about it. But over time, that gets better. Like you get better.
Yeah, that's another thing I've learned to do. I've learned to regulate myself, and I get upset or I get angry, or I used to sort of act out in anger sometimes and say things I regret and little things like that. But now I can learn to go for a walk, or take myself upstairs, or count to 10 in my head, which I do quite a lot, and then think before I speak, or don't speak at all. So it's nice once you can get to that space of, I know I need to do this to regulate myself. and then I can move forward. Whereas before it used to spiral out of control and it wouldn't be nice. So yeah, you're right. It's nice to know what I can do to regulate myself, and obviously I know you have you as well with sometimes, and I'm sure a lot of other people have as well. So once you get to that space, it is nice.
Yeah, I had a bit of a moment during my marathon. So I was like, part of my route, I run past my old uni dig, because I literally can see the room I used to make my tuna pasta mayo in our shitty little kitchen that no one did the washing up in. And I remember that the year I was there, and it was right near the end of the year, and the marathon was coming past, and we all was like watching it. And I just remember thinking, I could never do that. No, that's fucking hell. That's an Everest sort of thing. That's impossible. And that was actually back when I was in probably my worst space mentally as well. It was moving away, relationship stuff. It all just spiraled a bit. And I was like, I looked up to the window, and I know how far I've come since being that person. And I think sometimes it's really important to check in on that and just see the journey you've been on, and congratulate yourself of, like, you know.
Did you smile when you looked up at the window?
Yeah. There I was like nearly crying. I was like, fucking hell, this was like a big moment. That just, I didn't expect it. I was just like, whoa, like.
Because that happens to me if I finish a run or something, or I'm even walking home, and then like a memory just flashes of how I was a few years ago to how I am now, and I look back and think, oh my God, how far I've come, and I just start smiling. I remember once I was walking listening to a podcast, and then just a flash imaging went in my head of how bad I was, and I've just finished a really good gym session. This wasn't even that long ago, a couple of weeks ago. And I remember just started laughing and smiling, and this man was walking past, and he was like, "You're right." I was like, just not even thinking, because he's literally just like right there. Oh no, sorry.
Something on my face.
No, because I had my headphones in, I could luckily just say, "Oh no, just something funny on the podcast." But yeah, it's just No. I was listening to that, to be fair. I do listen to that on the way home sometimes, so it could have been that actually. But yeah, it's crazy how it just suddenly just pops into your head. And that's what's helped me in my runs as well. Like I dig deep in my runs, because I look back and just think,
the pain cave.
Yeah, that pain that I went through, and I use that as motivation for my runs. I know sometimes it's not the best thing to do, but it gets me through. And that's so you can say, like, mentally, like, I used to stop, but I wasn't tired. So why have I stopped? Why am I stopping? That's a lot of it is in your head. If you can mentally break through that, you're gonna do really well. Like, I bet in actually, to be fair, I'm not saying a marathon because you absolutely smashed that. But when you started that sort of training before Brighton, I bet like a few times you're like, I want to stop.
Oh, I wanted to stop during the marathon.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Last couple of miles when you've been running for 3.5 hours.
It's quite a long time.
Yeah, your body wants to stop, but you have to dial in, and that you have to.
Well, luckily you saw us at what, 20 miles?
No, you were there on the.
24
26.
Was it 26?
Because I turned the corner and there's the. Yeah.
So, Ben, we obviously went to watch the marathon with me and his wife, Casey. And the point was to meet him at a few points. So we barely met him. We missed him start because we didn't see him go past. Then we had to sprint to mile 6, and I mean sprint. We saw him just, and then we tried catching him up. So he was just too quick. He was going too quick to catch him up. So we were meant to catch him at mile 10. We thought, right, we'll skip that and get him at mile 14 or 16 where Canary Wharf was. We were there in time, but somehow he got past us without seeing him. So the next time we could see him was at just around the corner from the finish at mile 26. So he was on his own for 20 miles. Yeah. Didn't see any of us. He kept looking out for us.
So we had a game plan before. We were like, right, here's some bits you can get the tube, you can cut through there. Mile 6, we'll do mile 10, we'll do mile 15, mile 18, and then 26. So I'm looking like this. Oh, like as I'm running, and they just weren't there, and it was a little bit like,
I've gone home.
like it was going to be a boost, but they just weren't there.
No respite. It was just like, oh, I better just continue running.
Just carry on. Yeah, there's no other option.
Me and Casey were knackered. I know he's run a marathon, but we were shattered. We were sprinting around London trying to get there.
Well, I suppose, yeah. How are you meant to navigate that really? Because the amount of people out there. How many people?
We were optimistic as hell.
How many people do the marathon?
It's like 50,000 people.
50,000.
Yeah, but how many are watching?
Yeah, hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds and hundreds of thousands.
It's busy.
Jumping on the tube, couldn't even move. It was ridiculous.
They were the days.
And got to the end, and Casey still couldn't even see him. And I remember going, Danny, and then Dan was like, "Oh my god."
That must happen to a lot of people, though. That must happen to a lot. They must have similar things, or they have no game plan, and they're just like, "Yeah, well, sure, we'll catch you at some point."
They somehow do it.
And they're just sort of like.
I saw a guy on the phone going, I'm just about to cut, and I'm like, marathon, mate, what are you doing?
Yeah, that person.
He's doing his Tesco shop.
That girl we met, she was ringing it. She rang her husband and said, "Oh, whereabouts are you?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just coming around." I just casually after 15 miles, just having a little chat. I wouldn't even be able to breathe at 15 miles. But yeah, some of them are ridiculous. But at least with me, if I run the London Marathon either next year or the year after, you'd be able to find me a bit quicker. I reckon.
I'll run it next year.
Well, that'd be nice if you'd done that. Yeah, could pace me. Get me under 4 hours now. Joking, under 5. One day, Ben, you'll run it.
Not for me, unfortunately.
What's the furthest you've run?
Down the road.
It's not too bad.
No, I've tried running. I've tried the whole running stuff. It's just. It just doesn't interest me. I'd rather just go for a nice walk.
Well, that's what you say. It goes into what works for you. Running won't ever work for you, but you go for a nice walk.
Well, I think me and Danny touched upon it in the episode about running, that it can be a good start for many people because you haven't got to worry about gym membership. You haven't got to worry about trying to get a pair of trainers, and you're sort of good to go. If that gets you started, if that gets you out, gets you moving, great. Even if you go and do it in the gym. Okay,
but it's when you get into it and you go, "Oh, I've got to get some good trainers."
I think, yeah, but it was like when I think it was one of the reels that you posted. Actually, it was like there is a process where it's hard because your body needs to get good at it, and in that process, it can be really easy to hate running because it doesn't feel fun. It feels unnatural, and a month I should probably having a lot of that. But you basically just churn through that, and not everyone. But I think a lot of people.
Shitting hell. Shit. Why is that turned off? Oh, fucking hell. God. Why?
How long's that been off for?
No, I just heard it go off just then.
Oh, you heard it?
Yeah. Maybe it was overheating.
It's because some hot stuff coming out of.
Because the memory should be fine.
Oh, God.
Fuck's sake. Lost this piece of shit. What were you saying? Before I
just
had a
like
fucking panic attack?
Like the whole process of getting into running is a hard one. That even was for me. Like I think anyone that loves running, when they started, they wouldn't go, "Oh, that first run, loved it, it's great." It was tough and they only did it a mile and they felt inadequate. But there's definitely a process of like getting into it. It's probably like with most stuff, isn't it? Like when you learn the guitar, you don't pick it up and do, Guns N' Roses solo. Like you have to be shit to get good. And mindset wise, it's hard. You're not allowed to swear on here. Sorry.
Yeah, you're allowed to swear. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen Fiona, but yeah.
Mindset wise, it's like, you really have to churn through that. But it's sort of worth it in most cases, I think. If you can do it, if you like it.
Yeah, when I started, after a mile, 1.4, I was like, I'm done. I can't do anymore. And now when you look back at achievements and stuff and you think, I've just done a nice 4 mile run today. It's quite hot, but looking back to how I was before, It's like, oh, it's actually amazing. 4 miles, that's quite a long way compared to like 1.2, 1.3 that you're struggling. And that's quite steady today. That was our race pace for 2 miles. And it felt okay. It felt comfortable.
It's enjoyable because you've trained your body to get good at it.
Yeah. Whereas when we were doing the tempo run, like you said in the run today, we were doing around that pace and you were struggling to do it for half a mile. And for me, that was quick. I'm like, we're sprinting near enough. But today, it felt fine. So it's crazy what you can train your body to do.
Yeah, it's good coaching, isn't it?
It's not bad, yeah. B-star.
Nutrition, the 80-20 stuff, 80% like nutritious, healthy foods. If you then flip that, chances are that you're going to probably feel like shit.
How true is that, the 80-20?
What do you mean? Well, you mean if you have like 80% nutritious, half-decent, high-protein foods and then 20% like junk food?
Oh, no, I was talking like they always say it's 80% diet, nutrition, 20% exercise.
Well, yeah, it's pretty tough to out-train a bad diet.
Yeah.
Or a consistently bad diet.
Okay.
And if you're flipping it and you are going the other way and you're doing 80% ultra processed junky food, yeah, you can probably manage it, but the results are going to be nowhere near as good as they could be. And also, how are you going to feel? How much motivation you're going to have to train? What's your mental health going to be like if you're eating ultra processed, highly caloric foods 80% of the time? Chances are that 20%, even if you're getting that 20% is just purely, say, protein, for example, you're sort of running out of calories by that point. Fruit, veg, fibre, micronutrients are probably going in the bin. This is linked in because I've been doing more reading around how mental health is affected by your diet, which is still a bit vague. From a surface level, I'd look at it with the 80-20 stuff and go, well, yeah, if your diet consists of mostly ultra processed foods, you're probably not going to feel too good.
Well, that's when before I'd started my diet and started everything else. My food was pretty poor. From tracking again, thinking about it, I was probably consuming 5,000 to 6,000 calories a day, and I used to feel utter shit afterwards. I'd have an awful dinner or get a takeaway or something, and I would feel like crap afterwards, mentally, physically, like it just all round. So getting just a good nutrition and good exercise in it just automatically makes you feel a bit better. Like you said, it just links in with everything. More sleep, you get more sleep, you don't feel as tired when you wake up, you've got more energy. Just sort of kind of links into it's like a domino effect, isn't it?
The hard thing is sometimes is that most people know what they need to do, which makes it harder.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You know what you need to do. If you are someone who is not exercising, the mental health might not be in a great spot. What do you feel like you need to do? That's probably me. That's probably for me personally. That's probably why I've been able to get myself out of holes or periods in my life where I felt not great, because I've always known what to do. So, which for me personally, that was useful. For some people, that might make them even worse. That might make them feel worse because they know exactly what they need to do, but they can't do it for a whole host of reasons. Because I always knew what to do, I was able to just start doing it. Not all the time, not consistently, but I knew every morning, every time I needed to do something, I was like, well, what do you need to do to make yourself feel a bit better? Or what have you done in the past that's worked? Oh, okay, well, I've exercised a bit more. Yeah, my nutrition's a bit better. Okay. Right, so start trying to do that then.
Just go back to basics sometimes, isn't it?
Which might sound silly, especially for people who know what they need to do, but they're not there yet. They can't do it, or they can do it for a week and then it falls off a cliff again. But maybe that's again my personal, from my own experience. I've always been fortunate, maybe in some ways, that I've never drifted past that. I've always known what I need to do to keep me ticking over. And based on the environment I was in, based on the sort of lifestyle I had, that wasn't always the easiest.
Well, I've known you a long time, like 15, 14 years. Yeah, it's a long time. And obviously when we used to go out constantly, I was talking Friday, Saturday night, every single week, you still remained quite good with your food. So I'd come round and you'd be having quite a good dinner, or you'd have a good lunch, and you'd always be quite consistent with that. You've always had that mindset, I think. Obviously, the drinking and stuff, that I can't really count that, but the actual food side of things, you've always been pretty good, I think, anyway.
Well, it helped me tick over, but because I was reasonably strict in that sense, and if I was still drinking excessively over the weekend, there was a pretty vicious cycle, because I had to just do that every week. Where then, because I was reasonably restrictive with my diet and I exercised as much as I could, I'd get to the weekend, have a few drinks, the inhibitions would go, 40 chicken nuggets, 20 quid's worth of McDonald's,
Or
extra large doner kebab,
chicken cottage,
whatever, you name it. You name it, I was in there.
Yeah, that's it,
Munchies, Subways, like it's all been consumed. So Sunday, Monday morning, it was like, oh, here we go again. So for me, no progress was being made because it was just that cycle.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do that though. They live for the weekend a bit too much, not for themselves. If that makes sense.
It's me, isn't it? It's what I was like. Just live for the weekend. It's like that for a long time.
You can do it. I just think there's just like a level.
It's a balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that goes into, if you ask people, what do you need to do? If you want,
It's gone off again.
What did that say?
Fuck's sake. Yeah, it's the temperature. Fucking hell. Why
is that overheating then, do you think?
Oh, I don't know.
Probably the heat.
Well, it has been on for a couple of hours, I suppose.
Has it?
Fuck's sake.